Thank you for Patreon now for donating to the Patreon.
Hey guys, Vanity, Ezel back, Card Fight Vanguard, Ezel and Vanity Weekly Reviews. If you enjoyed it, like, comment, subscribe, and story. This time we are covering some promo reveals, and we also have I think this is Shiranui's video. Yeah, this is Shiranui's, and then next week we're going to have Luart along with him. So let's go ahead and start, shall we, and see what we got, because we got a lot of cards, and I never got to do the bit I wanted to do. First up, we have our promos, and that is Footprint Running Through Time and The Beginning of Creation. They are grade 3 normal orders for Messiah and Chronojet respectively. They both are normal orders that are cost of Counterblast 1 if you have a Chronojet Dragon Crest and a Alter Ego Crest on your board, obviously respectively. And then the Chronojet one is until end of turn, the unit called by this effect can use a Generation Break regardless of how many units are face up in your G zone. So if, God forbid, they for some reason print a GB8 into D, that just happens to have a very broken skill, this becomes incredibly abusable. But ignoring that, choose up to one card from your rear guard or soul, put it to the bottom of your deck, and if you call, and then you can call a unit from your deck with a grade +1 of that chosen unit and shuffle your deck. All around, pretty solid. And then its other skills, auto, which is carded from the hand for the cost of strike. Choose one of your vanguards or your heart cards until end of turn. The next CB cost you pay is reduced by 1. All around pretty solid because since it is a grade 3, that means you can have easier access to stride. And because of that, that means Chronojet's stride skill is now free, which is great, or at least for that turn. But then also his other ability is straight up, like, or maybe not Chronojet, but like next stages or Fate Rider, for example. But then also on top of this, you get to call something from deck and then basically time leap it and then activate his GB, which is nice because this doesn't require you to use GB. So say for example you wanted to use, what's it called? Is it Upstream? I think it's up. Yeah. Say for example you wanted to use Upstream Dragon before either player got the chance to stride because you went first. Yeah, running through time is pretty good for that. So for footprints running through time, like it's stride fodder and it gets you rear guards and does things. Then we have the Beginning of Creation, grade 3 normal order. Okay, the only reason I like this more than this is simply because of the moon in the background and nothing else. Normal order played by counterbalancing 1. Choose one unit card with Messiah in this card from your drop zone, call it to rear guard circle. Choose an opponent's rear guard and lock it. I don't remember anything from the Messiah trial deck or Messiah stride deck outside of Alter Ego Messiah having Messiah in his card name. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and that's more targets, which is great. I mean, in Premium that does something, but to my memory, it's only Alter Ego. But we'll see. Either way, though, CB1 to call rear guard and lock is pretty cool. And then the standard auto skill, which again is great, so you get more options for striding for free, and not to mention the fact your next CB, so locking your opponent's rear guard with Alter Ego or using Amnesty skill is pretty great as well. So easy 4 in Messiahs. Next up, we have Unison of All Senses Piracy, grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 8k base. Auto when she is placed on the rear guard circle other than during the battle phase. Show to one card from your hand with the Unison Dress ability and reveal it. If you revealed a card or you have a Vanguard with Unison Dress state, Soul Blast 1 and choose a card with a different card name from this unit and a grade less than or equal to your Vanguards from your drop zone, call it to rear guard. So she can be called from drop and still proc off her ability, she just can't call herself. If you don't know what I'm getting at, you call Diantha and then you proceed to use Diantha to fetch this and then you use this to get one more rear guard. All around pretty solid. And then I also like how Bushy's making more of these cards that are like, you either reveal a certain card in your hand or you just have to have that thing on Vanguard circles, so it adds a dual use to it. And then auto rear guard at the start of your main phase. If you have Vanguard in the Unison Dress state, you may shuffle her to soul. All around, not too bad to where if you need soul because maybe you have another copy of her in hand, you can get more rear guards out of it, or you need soul for a Leonord skill possibly, which I would question how you would do that since of how Vaveche works. But I mean, hey, free soul is free soul, so it's a nice card, easy 4 of. Then we have Selgaion, grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 8k base, auto rear guard. When this unit boosts, if you have more rear guards than your opponent, or if you play it in order this turn until end of battle, this unit will get plus 5,000 power. And at the end of that battle, retire it to look at the top 2 cards of your deck and choose a card from one of them, add it to your hand, and send the other to bottom. So all around, pretty solid. Like, it's a 13k booster that can, add stuff to hand. It's not amazing, especially compared to Rearguard Fetcher, free stride and free stride skill basically, and free stride skill, and then just free GB access, which will eventually become broken, I guarantee it, especially if they give it more support in D. But Silicon is still not a bad grade 1, especially because it does the skills for free, so I give it a nice solid 2 over 3 of.
Next up, we have our last reveals for the week. First up, we have our PG and Stealth Dragon Utsoroi, grades 1 boost, 0 Sosuke base. It is the standard PG, it's just, for Shiranui, and all around he looks pretty solid, and I don't know why, but it looks like he has human features from the size, even though I know it's a dragon, so there's that. Then we have our starter, which we all obviously knew was going to be Stealth Dragon Modway. Auto and Rotopan if you win second, draw a card. Standard special free draw if you go second. All around cool art. I pretty much, that's how I judge these two cards so far, just because like they're both art-wise, because their skills are shared pretty much between everything in the game. Then we have our Crest Searcher and Stealth Dragon Seizui. Great on boost 5k shield, AK base. Auto when placed by writing from a Stealth Dragon Modway, draw a card, and you get a Demon Stealth Dragon Shirami Obodu Crest. So all around, pretty solid. It fetches a crest. It gets you a free draw if you ride for Modway, so you know if you win second, you get 2 free draws, you get a crest, and you get to stride first. All around, it looks pretty cool, and I actually haven't read the crest yet, and everything else, I don't know what their effects do, because I kind of skimmed through them. Well, I didn't even skim through them, because I didn't get time to, so let's go ahead and get some genuine reactions in here, shall we? First up, we have our Demon Stealth Dragon Shironi Obodu Okrest. So, I don't know why I said Okrest. Anyways, that looks fucking cool. I don't know why, like, that color scheme looks really well for it, especially, like, the text color scheme, too. Anyways, Crest continues, you can perform a stride, and you cannot write grade 3 or greater cards without Demon Stealth Dragon Shiranri and their card names. Continues the original power of all your grade 3's Demon Stealth Dragon Shiranri and their card names become 13,000, including heart cards. That also includes the original Shiranri, you know, the one that has the stride skill to counterblast 1 to basically get rid of one of your opponent's hand cards. That one also would count towards that. Anyways, other abilities are continuous during your turn. If you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard Demon Stealth Dragon Shiramri in its card name, all your units get plus 5,000 power for each phase card in your G zone. Does not increase the power of dominated units because Bushy knows how damn broken that would be. So, being able to get 5k to your front row is nice, just to add more numbers to the extra pokes on top of the dominated units. And then continues during your turn, units you dominated and your opponent's units that were placed by your card's ability, specifically this turn, lose all their continuous and auto abilities, and they get plus 5,000 power. So you can't pull off the bullshit you could with Dominate, where if you use Tenri with the Vanguard, you could just take over your opponent's units and basically use them as cannon fire against your opponent with their no free will whatsoever, but in exchange they get an extra 5k power. Alright, and that's a nice way to balance it. You know, they become bigger beat sticks, they just can't use their possibly broken abilities in the situation, so I actually like that crest a lot. I think that's gonna make the deck really fun to use. Then we have our grade 2 of the Rhino Knight, Stealth Dragon Genkai, grade 10 5k shield, 10k base. I am really glad to see him again. Honor wrote upon by a grade 3 card with Still Stealth Dragon Shiranu in its card name. Okay, they are heavily implying that they are going to either release Zenki or they are going to release the OG one, because they would have just specified otherwise. Or, I mean, maybe it's just for the sake of premium, but still. You may call this card to rearguard circle, and if you call it Soul Charge 1, then choose to 1 unit card from your opponent's drop zone, and your opponent calls that to rearguard circle. I really love, and then this ability gives boost, and I'll get to that in a second, but I really love how this is more of an iteration of the V version than it is the D, or than it is the OG. And the weird thing is that both the V version and the D version both involve soul charging and gaining boost, when the OG focused on drawing cards and soul blasting for that. So being able to soul charge, get more rear guards, and then also basically force your opponent to now have a dominant unit is fun, because, you know, proc off stride skill if you went second, and then auto rear guard when a dominant unit attacks. Counterblast 1 in that attack. And that unit that attack gets plus 10,000 power, and Genkai will get boost. Okay, all around pretty solid. It helps increase the power of your dominated unit, which is great. And not to mention the fact that it gives itself a boost so you can do better numbers that turn. All around, Genkai is a very solid grade 2, and I love it as a 4 of now. Then we have our Demon Stealth Dragon Shiranu Oboru. I'll keep this one sweet and short. Grade 2 jumper strike, 13k base, or 11k base, sorry. Auto Vanguard, beginning of your ride phase, may choose up to 1 card from your opponent's drop zone. You may call that card to rear guard. At the end of that turn, retire, and then dominate Auto Vanguard. When your unit stride, shift to 1 of your opponent's rear guard, stand it, dominate it, until end of turn it gets plus 4,000 power and attacks your opponent's other unit. It's literally the exact same as the OG. If you don't know what dominate is, it's literally what the text describes. You pick an opponent's unit, it stands, and then it gets possibly it gets numbers. It depends on the unit that is dominating, but I think most units that dominate give numbers of some kind to the dominated unit, and then it's forced to swing. Sometimes it's specifically to Vanguard, and sometimes it's your other opponent's units in general. This time it's any of the opponent's units, so pretty solid for rearguard killing. Then we have our last card of the day, and that is Enema Stealth Dragon Magen Tenbu. Still love that art. Stride, you know, just choose one or more cards with grades 3, discard them, or grades of some being 3, and then stride it from your face down. And then I'm not going to read the rest of this. And then the other skill is Dominate Act Vanguard Circle hard once per turn by counterblasting 1 and flipping over anything in your G zone. Man, I remember how in the OGs it had to be the same, and I remember that specifically because he was one of the first units I ever pulled from a booster set, and I was so disappointed when I couldn't effing use him because I didn't have a second copy. Anyways, choose one of your opponent's rear guard, stand, dominate it, and that unit attacks your opponents of the unit, and at the end of that battle, retire that dominated unit. So they made him worse. I think they actually made him worse because I think the old Magen Tenbu was the same cost, except it didn't, like I said, it didn't have to flip it, or it did have to flip itself. But in exchange, I think it gave plus 3k for every face-up card in G-Zone, or am I thinking of Mugen Lord? Because I swear OG Magen Tenbu gave numbers, and if that's the case, as much as I love this thing's art, unlike like the other ones that they gave like a buff to the original stride that isn't like amnesty or next stage, they legitimately nerfed him because they didn't give him numbers from that. I mean, granted, this gives numbers to any dominated unit anyways, and I guess you're probably going to dominate the unit that was called by Oboru or dominated by Oboru, but I mean, man, then it's disappointing to know we can't like get 3k for at least every face-up card in G-Zone. I guess the crest would make it broken, but even then, like, a little disappointing. Either way, that's it for this week's reveals. Hope you guys enjoyed. All around pretty solid. Next Tuesday, we will have more Shiranu reveals. Hopefully, we will get Mugen Lord. I'm not Mugen Lord. What's it called? Mokuro, and also I know we're gonna get Luard, at least some of the Luard reveals. So yeah, look forward to next week. So I'll see you all then. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and follow Twitch, and don't forget to stand up your vanguards.